So, it's been quite a while since I've done a video other than a Fortnite video, but here I am being on the camera again, and yeah, kind of feels good. So, yeah, I want to talk about a show that, of course, a lot of people have been talking about the past 3 weeks, and that is the show Watchmen on HBO. And yes, there's a lot of talk about it. Some people really love it, some people like it, some people maybe are kind of disappointed by it a little bit. But yeah, but I'm in the camp where I pretty much love this show. I mean, the first episode going into the show, like after watching the first episode, I became okay, I'm interested. I'm interested to see where it goes. And then the second episode, I was like, okay, I'm really digging this. Like I'm looking forward to watching this every Sunday. And then the third episode that just came on this past weekend, I think I fell in love with this show because, yeah, it is so good. I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people are kind of disappointed. Well, there's some people that are disappointed because they're like they love Watchmen the comic, and they probably love Watchmen the movie that came out, of course, back then, not back then, but in like the 2000s, but the one that Snyder directed. So yeah, and a lot of people don't like this because there's certain things that they do not like about this show, and where they've kind of like they've put like influence on. So yeah, so let's go into it, I guess. First episode really started off well with an event that I have never heard of because I was never taught about this event in school, and it's the Tulsa riot in 1921, which really should be a massacre, of course, and I'm not gonna go too much into it, so yeah, just look it up. Tulsa riot, Tulsa massacre. But yeah, the massacre is the right term. But it really, like, when I watched it, I was kind of disbelief that this was actually a real event, because of course Watchmen is about, like, Watchmen is pretty much alternative history, and it just seemed like kind of alternative because it seemed way too violent even for the times back then. And yeah, but it's a real thing. And I learned it after the episode that it was a real thing. But yeah, the first episode gets you wrapped in. I really love the first episode. I mean, it really gives you the atmosphere, of course, what's going on. You got like raining squids coming down in the air, which is crazy. And of course, that ties into the comic, because the comic at the end, of course, Ozymandias, he puts a giant squid in Manhattan, and in the movie, it's actually Dr. Manhattan that blows it up with like a atomic bomb or something like that. And of course, we get like mentions of this thing called Redfordations, which is connected to Robert Redford, who is actually the president in the comic, and I guess in the show he's the president, or he was the president. I don't know. But they got all sort of stuff. I mean, the American flag's even different. You got like this statue in Tulsa where the show takes place. But like it's a statue of Richard Nixon, and of course Richard Nixon was in the movie. I guess he was in the comic, of course. I don't know that much about the comic, but I know some. But yeah, but it's crazy. And then of course one of the big things about the show is, of course, the police, of course, in the show, and the police have to hide their identities because the cavalry, this group called the cavalry, like started coming after them, of course. And yeah, and they all wear yellow masks now, and it really dives in this like other political elements in this show, of course, with like gun control, of course. Even like the police have their own gun control, where they have to like you see this one police officer, he has to like get permission to pull the gun out of his car, and by then it's too late. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then of course you have I guess they're like the Watchmen, or they take influence from the Watchmen, of course, with Regina King's character, Sister Night. You got like Tim Blake Nelson playing Looking Glass. You got a bunch of people dressed up. You got this guy in a red jumpsuit called Red Scare, which is crazy. He's like an Irishman or like a Welshman in like a red jumpsuit, which is like, it's so bizarre and so crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy. And one of the other crazy things, you got like a guy in like a panda head sitting in there with a bunch of police officers. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? like this guy wearing a panda head. So yeah, there's some craziness in there. I think that's what I really love about this show. It's serious, but there's some crazy in it, and I think it meshes well. And of course, the thing that Watchmen purists don't like about this show, or a lot of them don't like about this show, and it's more particularly the ones who really like Rorschach, is the cavalry, which is a group of white supremacists that get influence from Rorschach and wear his masks. So where do I stand in this? I think this is actually a great move because it shows where like a group can take influence from this guy, even if he doesn't want it, even if he doesn't want them to take influence from them. I think it's a brilliant move on the show and a brilliant move from Damon Lindelof, for the producer of the show, the showrunner, because it just shows that like, okay, these groups are going to take influence from someone, even if they don't want it. And Rorschach, I think if he was alive at this point, he would be disappointed that this sort of group took influence and are now wearing his masks, but he's not able to say anything because he's actually dead. And of course, they get the influence from Rorschach because that's his kind of values. Of course, they kind of share his values, but of course, Rorschach's probably not going to go and do stuff that the cavalry did. But the cavalry says, yeah, we idolize Rorschach and we're going to take his mask and we're going to run with it. And yeah, I guess them and the police officers have gone against each other, of course, and it was shown in the show. I don't want to go too much into it in case you haven't watched it. It really shows how they've been in the battle with the cops, just like from the time Watchmen ended till the time we go into now in this show. Now let's go to the main cast of these first 3 episodes, and of course Regina King is pretty much the headliner of the show as Sister Knight, and of course she's just like a retired police officer, or sort of retired because she was attacked by cavalry, of course, when they went after the cops. But yeah, but she is Sister Knight in the show. That's her character's name, and I think she's killed it so far. I think just see Regina King in a role like this, I think is awesome. So I think she's great in the first 3 episodes. And then we have Don Johnson, who is great in the first episode. I really like his character in the first episode, and his character really ties into what's going to go on later into this show. So I really like Don Johnson's performance. Jeremy Irons, of course. Jeremy Irons is playing Ozymandias in the show. I forget what is his alter ego's name? I kind of forget what his name. Oh, Adrian Veidt. So yeah. But I think he's done a fantastic job. He looks like he's having fun in this show. His character really doesn't tie in yet in the first 3 episodes, so I don't know where that's gonna go. But I hope he comes into like play with other characters, which I think he probably will at some point. But he's over there. I don't know where is he? Is he in England? I don't even know. But he's like at his castle. He has a bunch of clones of these like 2 people, and he's like putting on these plays, and this play he's like having them put on. It's kind of like reimagining maybe what is like a confrontation with Dr. Manhattan was. So yeah, you see one of them going into like that fire, whatever that vault was, and then he burns to death, and then you have clones of him coming in, and one of them is like naked, of course, and he's all painted blue like Dr. Manhattan. So yeah, it's crazy, man. That's like this. I mean, Ozymandias. I mean, he's kind of loony for some reason, but yeah, I guess he has to be. Another actor in the show who has not been in too much is Tim Blake Nelson. He's playing this cop and his character called Looking Glass, and I think he's done well for the parts he's been in so far, and I hope he's in like more stuff in the coming episodes, which I think he will be, because this character is kind of cool. He has kind of like a cool mask, which is kind of awesome. So yeah, and I love the interrogation scene he has for that one cavalry member. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And of course, now let's go to Jean Smart, who came into this episode 3, and she's playing, of course, Laurie Blake, aka Silk Spectre. So it's kind of like our second Watchmen character coming in after Ozymandias, and she kills it in episode 3. I think she killed it. She was great in it. I mean, just see her, like, I think she's also an actor who's having fun in this role, because you just see her with her attitude. It's just like something great to see with her, and I think she brought a lot to episode 3, and hopefully she brings a lot for the coming episodes. And yeah, you just see her with the attitude, and her talking to Dr. Manhattan on the phone thing, like throughout the episode, which is pretty cool. And he got her with like a giant blue dildo, of course. that was the kinkiest thing in the show so far. So yeah, that was like, okay, maybe take it a little too far with this, but yeah, she can't get enough. She can't get enough of that big blue naked thing on Mars, I guess. So yeah, but Jean Smart really did a great job with it. And of course, at the end of episode 3, we have the car crashing down after she like called and was talking to that phone where you can, I guess you can talk to like Dr. Manhattan. They kind of set it up with that, and like I feel like anybody can do that, but it looks like Dr. Manhattan only responds to Silk Spectre, his lady. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, so of course, Watchmen, I've loved it so far. I really hope the last few episodes, I think it's gonna be a 10 episode season, I think. So I really hope the remaining 7 episodes are just as good as the first 3, and hopefully they're better, because I hope it builds up to being as good as I think it could be. So yeah, so I really want to talk about this because I've loved the show. So yeah, thank you for watching. Tell me what you think about Watchmen. Are you looking forward to it, or does this possibly give you like a reason maybe to watch? If you have access to HBO, I think you should go watch it. It's really just a fascinating show to watch, and it really puts like comic books in like just a kind of a new realm. It shows how artistic, and it shows how great a story can be. I mean, they've been great so far, but just on a TV side, I think this shows how it can be really good. So yeah, you can catch me doing reviews of movies when I'm not doing Fortnite videos. Yeah, TV shows as well. There's a TV show. So yeah, I'll try to do a lot of them, especially with The Mandalorian coming out in just a week. So can't wait. I can't wait for that. So until next time, I will see you folks later. I am out.